Hello everyone and welcome back to NextTS rule course. Today is the class 12, and just remember that this video has been sponsored by Xteam, the best and the most amazing company of the world to find remote jobs with very amazing clients with a very different atmosphere that you cannot find anywhere in another company of the world. If you want to know more about this, just grab the link of Xteam down below here in the description. And let's go to our class. Today we are on class 12, which is delete and view a single customer component. We created the hooks and the HTTP fetch functions in the last class, and today we are going to do effectively applying those guys that we created to our component. If you want to go directly to class 12, you just need to check out the branch 12 of the repo. If you don't, and if this is your first time watching this course, you can grab the link for all the course down below here in the description. Everything, all the code base of the course is stored on GitHub, and each of the class are divided to branch, which means that the class 12 will be all the content of the class 12 will be on the branch 12, class 12. And we also have support to Portuguese version. So let's go. So we have here the first, we are going to only create a single component today, and I'm going to create a folder. I'm creating to the terminal in this location here in pages, customer. You are going to create a folder called into the directory pages and customers. You are going to create a new folder, call it square brackets ID, close square brackets. So it will be on the directory pages and customers, and it will be square brackets ID, close square brackets. So it will be this name because this will be the component where we are going to place the component for viewing a single customer. And we are going to create a file inside this, call it index. It is not typing, index.tsx, the name that we are already used it to. So now the only thing that we need to do actually here, it will be, we need to effectively create a component because we have already created the hooks, as I said in the last class. So we are going to import some dependencies first. I will import all of them, so we are not going to waste time on imports, and because this is not the focus and the aim of our course. We are going to import React router because we are using the router React layout, which is our overlying our most external component. The link for navigating between through the pages of Next.js. We are going to import use customer and use delete customer, which are the two hooks that we have created last class. We are going to import iCustomer, which is our Typescript interface for represent our customers type, and the loading component for that we have created in the last classes. So we are going to create a function created customer that will just return a JSX element, like all the other components do. And then the first thing that we are going to do here is creating the router. Router comes from use router. Remember the last class in the create user component that we used route when the creation of a new user was successfully. We just used the router to route the user again to the first page, because you don't want to keep on the same page when a process has done. And then we are going to import const ID from router query, because imagine when we want to check how to access the page for a single user, this will be the page local host. Of course, if we are in localhost, customers, and the ID of the user, for example 123. This, and here effectively here in the line 11 that we just have created, I'm grabbing this ID actually. User router, sorry, not user route. User router, okay. And then here the next one will be the mutation. We are going to create to import the mutation that was the delete mutation that we creating the last class that we just imported here up above. So it will be an equals symbol. Okay, everything's okay here. And then here I will create a onClick, because we will create in that component a guy named a button called delete, and if we press this button, the user will be deleted. But before doing that, let's do first the UI part of the component, and then we come back to all those and other things. So there will be return here, and then I will put first the layout, which is the most external component that we have created, and then I will put h1 customer, and then here I will put another, just an 8R for separating a little bit of the UI. And the another thing that I'm going to do now, it is we need to first query the customer that you want to see on that page. So what I'm going to do, I will keep doing that part here. I'm going to run npm run so we can see that it results while we are coding. And here up, I'm going to do a if mutation is success. We are going to route the user to the index page, to the main page of the application, because I have deleted the user. Then I want to route the user to the main page just to check out in the table that the user doesn't exist anymore. And then I will do a const data and error from use customer, which is the hook that we created last class, but we need to pass a new an argument this time. And we are using use customer, remember, and the ID that comes from the router query most of the time comes as a number, so that's why we are doing a typecast to string here. Let's just go to the browser here and check if everything is working normally. Yeah, everything's working normally. And then we are going to, here is the part that we want. And then now we can effectively get our customer. So it will be const customer. That will be I customer, the interface that we have, and will be data, this data that we received as I customer. So we have already the user that we want to show for us. And another thing, if something goes wrong, if there is an error, it will be error. pipe mutation error. So if an error occurs, because we have two hooks here, we have the use customer, and then we have the error from the use customer, and then we have the mutation for deleting the customer. So we have two types of error. That's why we are creating a if and or a logical operator here, because if whether if it is an error from use customer hook or delete customer hook, the both of them we want to change to show an error message. We are just going to return a single div failed to load. Just this. We don't want to show too much messages now. And then here up above, just one thing that is left is we're going to create a function that is called an onClick, which will be an arrow function that will not return nothing. It will return void, but it is the function that will be executed when we click on the delete button. It will be mutation dot mutate, as we know, and then we just need to send the ID of the guy that we want to mutate. So everything's okay. If we execute, another thing that I'm going to do here is export. I'm going to export default customer, which is the name of the component that I've created, default customer. Here we don't have so much things yet. We don't have so much things, but we can already test this. One thing that we can test, if we do a save, it is complaining about something. Okay, it's just the ES, the printer, that is complaining. Okay, and if we go to some page, now we can go here and click, for example, in Darth Vader, and this should take us, okay, it is already, the page is working. We can see that the page is working, but we haven't, the only thing that we have in the component yet is just this part. So this doesn't work at all. So, but one thing that we can do here before effectively constructing the component, we can do a console log just to check that our hook, it is working. And then I will put data here, and then we'll save it again. And if we go here, if we refresh the page, we can see that our Darth Vader is already being caught by our hook. So everything is good to go. We are good to go to keep constructing our component here. And let's just for sake of doing another test, we'll change the guy now. Let's go to Obi-Wan, and now we can see that Obi-Wan has been fetched. And why in the first time appeared undefined, and then I effectively found the guy, the customer, because as we are using a component and as we are using React hooks, what happens is this: basically the first time the component renders, there won't be enough time for the hook to fetch the HTTP endpoint and to respond. And also considering that our mock, it is taking 2 seconds for getting all the requests, because we have programmed this some classes ago. So considering this, only after the use customer hooks return something that the component will renders again, and with the data that it was founded. That's why when we go here, we have two guys. We have those two guys, one undefined and one which is not undefined, and might be an error too. But continuing here on the component part, which is the biggest part, we want now another thing that we want to do here is I will put, if a customer, which is the variable that we exists, if the customer exists, basically what we are going to do will be displaying an entire component. It will be I will put just a div now. For now will be a div, a normal div, okay. But if it doesn't exist, if the customer hasn't been loaded yet, we are basically going to do show our famous loading component. Everything's okay here. I will just one thing that I'm going to do, it is npm run lint again. I could format everything through the shortcode that I have for VS Code, but I'm doing this just to remember that we need to use this all the class, and it is customer, not customer. And then here is effectively where we are going to create our guy, our component. Let me just, this formatted in the way that I didn't want it, but anyways, here is where we are going to do our guy. So first of all, we want to put the name of the customer. So we want to put the name of the customer, basically. So it will be, we are going to do a paragraph tag. And then here will be a class name, a class, CSS class that we have already created. If we haven't created it yet, we are going to create this class. Let me check if we have created. We haven't created yet. We are going to create just now. And then customer dot first name, and again customer dot last name. This code completion is totally messing with me. Okay, now I have the paragraph, and then I will do the same thing, a paragraph again, but this time for the telephone of the guy. That will be customer dot telephone. And we are going to use the class name as and it will be none. Remember the one that we created some classes ago. And we are going to copy and paste the same thing for doing with the credit card of the user, which will be credit card. Okay. And then here's where it's going to be, where we are going to place our buttons, which will be, first of all, let's do a div again. And we are going to put the class name as buttons. And now one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to just format this and run and do a little bit of CSS so we can run this incrementally. So just open the CSS here. I will just copy and paste because it's not our focus. It's out of our focus doing CSS in this course. So I will copy and paste all the CSS that we are using this class, and I'm going to explain each of them, of course. This name here will be used for the name of the guy that we are displaying. The buttons is just to set the text line of the button must be in the right. The edit button, it is just another button which will be a blue button with some border radius and a padding. And then there will be a hover, which is that when we pass the mouse through the button, this will change, we will apply an effect on this. And the delete button, which is a red button that will be used for deleting the user. So this, we are going back, we are going to save this one and also save this one, and finally run npm run dev for running our application. And just wait a little bit until we have everything charted. I'm going to the first page of the application. Let me just wait this to reload. And while again, let me just present the guy one of the guys that sponsors this course, which is XTeam, one of the best company of the world to find remote jobs. And going back to our application again. If you want to know more about XTeam, there is a link here down below in the description of this video. And here we can click on Darth Vader. And when we click on Darth Vader, okay, everything is showing now. We have our loading, and we can see that our component is getting into the final phases. Now we just need the buttons, like I was telling you guys, just to add the buttons, that everything will be ready for. We can, as we have already seen, our use customer for getting a single customer is already working. And then here I will put a link. Why this link? Because I will have a button for update the user too. And when I click this button, this will take us to another form for updating. That's why I have this guy here, which will be href. And then I will put customers ID, square brackets ID, and then update. Okay, and then there is another attribute that is required, which is S, and I will put this one here. Remember that it doesn't have to be the single quotes, but these are other types of quotes here, where I can put ID. Okay, and this will take I will put an anchor HTML tag, and this I will put first a class name of edit button, okay, which will be added. If we save here, let's take a look here on we have already our edit button, so everything's okay. And then let's take a look in our last button, which will be the button for deleting the user, which will be a button too, button HTML tag, and the class name will be the class name that we created for deleting, which is delete button. And then onClick, it is the onClick function that we have created here. Remember this one here? We are going to use this one here and finalize the button. Something's missing here. I don't know what is missing. On click. Oh, it's not this one. Okay, and then I will put here delete. Okay, everything is good. It is also formatted. If I go to the browser, I will have the customer. So I have the customer, the header. I can change my customer. I can go to R2D2, and we have also fetched this guy. So we have done this guy too. Now let's go to Han Solo. And let's imagine that I want to delete Han Solo. Let's just test now the mutation that we have created for delete in React hooks. We just do a delete. That we can see that Han Solo has been deleted. It will take a little bit of second because the mock takes a little bit to delete this, but as we could see, we were able to delete this guy. We were able to delete this. So everything's okay. Again, remember that we are deleting data that has been hard-coded in our application, which means that if we refresh the page, with this will not the data that we have deleted will appear again, because we are using a mock and also some interceptors for return this sample data, because we don't have the API yet. And when we have the API, we are just going to turn off the mock, which is controlled by our environment variable that we created some classes ago. And then when we have the API, everything will be directly and clear saved into the database, which will be the class 15 will be related to databases. So thanks a lot. This was the class which is related to getting a single customer and deleting a single customer component using the hooks that we have created in the class 11. And then the next class will be the class 13, which will be a big class, but it will be one of the last classes for doing UI. Basically, the only thing that is left is creating the UI for updating end user. And basically, the next class we are going to be working on this. And when we have everything ready, all the components ready, and everything ready related to the mocks, we are ready to go with creating the database and then start creating our APIs. So thanks a lot, everyone. It was a pleasure to teach and to learn with you as well. And thanks a lot, and see you in the next class, which that is the 30th class.